Hello everyone, welcome once again to my vlog. Welcome to my art channel. And this is Artistically You painting a watercolor beach sunset. So this time around I have upgraded all my materials that I'm using for this video. I have upgraded the paint. I'm using this paint from Japan, which is a very vibrant paint, as you can see from here. This is called the Holbein watercolor set. I have also uploaded the first trial that I had with this paint, and this is just absolutely wonderful, a total joy to paint with. And the paper that I'm using is also from Backford, and I have to cut them myself. And this paper is very forgiving, very absorbent, and it just gives me the flow that I need, and the paint lifts up easily. So like as you can see here, when I dab my paper to my painting, and that white spot will serve as my light source. That would be our sun. And yes, this painting took me 3 hours to finish, and actually I was doing a lot of things while doing this painting. I was at the same time cooking, and at the same time listening to good music, and I was stopping for mini breaks and then back again to my painting. So I just thought that I do this watercolor sunset. Actually, a friend of mine requested this one, and that just gave me an idea to actually create this painting. And I have to say that I do have a reference photo for this one, but I didn't necessarily once again follow the reference. It just gives me a hint of what kind of colors that I need to mix so that I could paint this watercolor sunset. So it's just a mixture of our primary colors, our blues, reds, and yellows, and that's basically it. And when they and when we mix them together, we create this beautiful use of purple. And that's what I really love about primary colors, because even with these 3 colors we can paint a lot of beautiful, I would say beautiful artwork, especially sunsets, to be specific, because that's what we all need, just 3 colors, and from there we just mix and another color is created. And yes, that's what I call the watercolor magic, or the color magic. And in this process I'm just deciding where my clouds will be. But you know, when you make these decisions, they're very random and very natural, and you just really enjoy the process of lifting up some paint on your paper, and then it creates fluffy looking clouds, and then underneath that clouds you'd like to put some shadows so that the white of the paper would be highlighted. And this is how I made this sunset, and I have to say this was the most fun part for me whenever I create the shadows and creating this kind of ambience on the painting, because this one is actually what sets the entire painting. So it always starts from our light source and how it is, and the rest will just fall in place. Well, that's just my opinion, and for my learning, yes, that's what I learned from this painting. And it's all about the lights and the shadows and just letting go of this anxiety that um, I would have whenever I, like look at the blank page. It's quite intimidating to begin with, but then later on, as you start mixing colors and using bold strokes, you just carry on, and the process just goes on and on. And in fact, like I always say, in every painting I make, it does make me feel like I've done it within a matter of seconds, when in fact I've actually spent a couple of hours doing the painting. So that's how enjoyable it becomes. At least for me, that's how it actually makes me feel. And so, if you can observe, from when the painting was wet, when I was applying the wet paint, and now that it dried up, the colors actually, it actually dries lighter, which is exactly how watercolor works. But nevertheless, it's still very vibrant in my opinion, and I was really just enjoying looking at the pop of colors and how the sky is and how the sunset is looking. I think at this stage it's already looking as how I imagine it, and I think that was quite somehow I nailed it at this point. Maybe for me, that's just again my opinion, because previously I used to practice painting sunsets, and time again I felt like it didn't look right, or it didn't look I mean, the ambience or the setting of the painting wasn't right. But at this point, I would say that yes, I think this is one of those sunsets that I have actually I got it right this time. And yeah, that's quite fulfilling for someone who has been practicing and practicing and practicing again and again and again. So in watercolors, we always layer or do layers, and at this stage you can just see me doing something in our mid ground. So I haven't actually decided if these are mountains, trees, or whatever. I just decided to make it abstract, so I just went ahead and strike some. I mean, the strokes are just everywhere in this mid ground. Well, but for me, I did like them because the values are there and the different shades of colors are there, and it does make the look of the painting a little bit more cohesive in relationship to the sky and to the sea. So that's how I've seen it. And as always, I needed something to make this painting pop up, and painting the boat is also one of the most fun part. And now at this stage, something that I need to paint for our foreground, so that would be these coconut trees. And these are just the silhouettes of the coconut trees, and I was just enjoying this process again because see, these are very random shapes, and no matter how much I just put random streaks there, here and there, I mean, I'm just quite surprised. It's an impression of the leaves of a coconut tree, and that's how it went. And I really like that process. I enjoyed that. There's not much brush control here. The technique is loose, and yes, I really like paintings like this when they are less detailed, when you're not trying to make more details, but then it still turns out like there are details. So this is the silhouette of a coconut tree, and again another coconut tree. So just these two coconut trees side by side having a good time. And just to balance the space, I decided to make another coconut tree on the right side. And at this stage, I have finished my cooking. I have done a few things, and all that's left to do when I was doing this painting was just actually to finish this. And then finally, after a few hours of painting, I was able to stretch and breathe. Of course, I was breathing while I was doing this. But to say the least, that I really enjoyed the experience. And here it is. I hope you enjoy it, and thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel.